going on, guys? It's Moontan again with another build video for Templar using dual wield and a restoration staff. So Morrowind is out and Battlegrounds are here, so this is a no CP build focusing on my place in Battlegrounds. Now if you want to wear light armor in Battlegrounds, you are going to be taking lots and lots of damage, so I've been playing this build throughout the last week, figuring out ways to make me as tanky as possible with still being able to do a lot of damage depending on what the team composition is. So some of the most important endowments that you're going to want to use are Blood Spawn, Pirate Skeleton, and if you're really focusing hard on damage, you can put on Valkynscoria. But you'll see that the most important thing that you can use is Blood Spawn and Pirate Skeleton. So let's go ahead and get started here. What sets am I using? So your damage set is going to be the War Maiden set, which is a Morrowind set that is an overland set. You can get it from the bosses in Vvardenfell, whatever that name of that region is, the new Morrowind region. And you can see it adds, once everything's golded out, 400 spell damage to your magic abilities, and most of the Magicka Templar skill sets are magic damage abilities, so that's really good. Yes, this doesn't boost your healing, but again, we are not focused solely on just being a healer. We also want to do a lot of damage. And before, the previous build used spinners, so this was like a really nice direct translation into spinners. Now, for all of pretty much what I'm wearing right now, you're going to be wanting to wear impen pieces because crit resistance is still important, and you're going to be getting hit really hard when you're in a BG. The second set we're using is Wizard's Riposte. And this is an awesome set. You can see the 5-piece. When you take critical damage, you apply minor maim to the enemy for 15 seconds, reducing their damage done by 15%. 15 seconds is a lot of time to have that damage reduction applied to multiple people. So even if you just zip through some AoE and you get crit right there, whoever did that AoE to you is going to be having that minor maim applied to them, which is super awesome when coupled with a defensive set of Pirate Skeleton. So if you are in Pirate Skeleton, getting your damage reduction by 30%, and you have that Wizard's Riposte set triggered on them too, so they have that minor maim, you're going to have at least 45% damage reduction in your light armor, which is going to be really important, especially when you're fighting multiple people when you're outnumbered. And that's going to kind of give you that edge there. Now, of course, you're going to want sharpen, whatever, however you manage to put the set together, whether it's War Maiden swords and stuff like that, make sure you have sharpened swords, and then on the back bar, you're going to want defending, however you get it together. On my jewelry, I have 1 spell damage and 2 Magicka recoveries, and that seems really fine right now. If you really want to go crazy and you don't think you have enough Magicka sustain, you could put a 3rd recovery glyph on there if you're playing more of a supporty role and healing your team a lot. Now, when to pick which actual Adontan set you're using is basically like this. If you're by yourself or if you want to be as tanky as possible, use Pirate Skeleton. If you're playing more support-oriented and you're really keeping your team up and you want to do a lot of resto ults and keep that up on your team, you're going to want to run Blood Spawn. If you have another, or maybe even a full support supporting you, or another Magicka Templar or something that can pass you some off heals when you're getting focused or locked down, definitely one Valkynscoria because that's just going to increase your burst and damage. Now on my traits here, I have full impen, so I'm running 2 when I want to be super tanky. I'm running 2 heavy armor pieces and then 5 light. When I'm using Pirate Skeleton, when I'm using Blood Spawn, it's the 5-1-1, and then when I'm using Valkynscoria, it's 5-1-1 again. Now I have well fitted on both of those pieces and impen and sturdy. Probably ideal on the Blood Spawn to have another impen piece, and even these could be impen over well fitted, but I have just had 0 luck getting really good drops on Valkynscoria. So skill wise, this is pretty much direct translation of the skills I used on my last build video. So if you're using those, it's same cookie cutter stuff that I was using last time. But basically, the thing you're going to be weaving and using the most because you're in light armor and that's going to really, you're going to be taking lots of damage, is Light's Champion, which is the resto ult. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's right in here, Restoration Staff up here. That's pretty much the only resto staff ability you're going to want to use. It's super good, gives you critical damage increase, and also gives you major protection, which when you have major protection again, if your Pirate Skeleton isn't proccing, then also using that Wizard's Rip set to give them that minor maim, you still have that 45% damage reduction, which is awesome. Then, ability-wise, Vampire's Bane. Why do you pick Vampire's Bane over Reflective Light? Vampire's Bane lasts longer, and Reflective Light, if you've ever noticed, doesn't last as long, and most of the time it's not even hitting 3 people when you cast it, even if there was 3 people right there. You want to use Elusive Mist. This is going to be a way that you can absorb damage from big ults, like things like DK Leaps or Meteors, anything like that. If you have the mana to use it and you don't want to waste a bunch of block, you're going to be in Mist a lot. Extended Ritual, because that's the best one to remove the most harmful effects. Then you're going to have Channel Focus, which is going to help your sustain because you're going to be recovering a lot more magicka. And then Honor the Dead over Breath of Life, because Honor the Dead also helps to sustain, and you don't really need Breath of Life. And this build, you're not a full healer here, so you don't really need that. On my offensive bar, we're gonna run. This can be interchanged for anything. You can use Dawnbreaker, you can use Empowering Sweep, or you can use Shooting Star, or even the other morph of the Shooting Star, which is like the Ice Comet one. That's totally fine too. Then you're gonna have Puncturing Sweeps. Repentance, if you don't want to use Repentance anymore, feel free to put something else on there, like maybe run Shards for your team or something like that. Purifying Light, this is going to be a way to help you out with your burst. If you don't need the burst damage, take that off and use something else, like you could put Shards there too, to be honest. Radiant Oppression, this is your execute. Again, I don't usually execute when someone's under 50% health unless there's a lot of other people hitting them. If you're by yourself and you don't want to get bashed and you want people to die, make sure you're executing. So say this is the life bar. You want to execute when someone has, you know, like less than 25% to really make sure you just get one strong zap in and they die. And then Toppling Charge, of course, because that's your gap closer. Now, I'm not going to go into detail or anything about CP because you can put CP in and run this build in the CP campaign just fine. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the pots I use. I use Essence of Health, which are tri-pots if I need them. I'm getting Major Sorcery from these Essence of Detection pots. The reason I'm not using just the Essence of Magic pots because I'm already getting Major Prophecy from Vampire's Bane. I don't need to have it on here, and it's really helpful to be able to have stealth detection up because there are tons and tons and tons of Nightblades when you're in a battleground. Essence of Movability, sometimes I use these depending on what's going on. If you pop an Essence of Immovability, have the resto ult, and you're going in to kill someone, so basically that is a really good combo. You put your Essence of Immovability on, and you could even use the magic ones too if you don't want to use Stam. I'm going to recommend the Stam ones because you don't have the ability to block a lot, and if you need to dodge roll and stuff, it's nice to get that Stam burst back. But you pop Essence of Movability, you topically charge into someone, you have your resto ult up, and you know you have Vampire's Bane, Purifying Light on them and everything, and hopefully that person dies, because within that time frame of being immune and having your resto ult up, someone should probably die. If they're not dying, you're not doing enough damage, it's a bad target, you should move to a squishier target. And then this is another Essence of Movability pot. These are the ones that actually restore magicka, but you could actually probably use these over these more often, but you're not going to get Major Sorcery, so you need Major Sorcery off of these ones. And then another one I use sometimes is Essence of Invisibility. I'm going to be using Tri-Food here, so same thing is just Tri-Food, and that's about what I have to say about this. The coolest thing is this is a build using both new Morrowind sets, and it plays really, really tanky, especially when you have Pirate Skeleton on, and you can still be an effective off healer. This is not a full support build. Maybe later on I will actually release some montage footage of me playing with this specific build, but I recommend just going out, having fun with this build. If it's not for you, if you feel like you're really squishy, which sometimes it can feel like you're squishy, there are other good builds out there too. I may try to upload one of those build videos using that Impregnable set, because that's going to be a really strong way to use a sword and board. But as my particular playstyle, I really, really, really love using Resto ult and being DPS oriented, because I can heal a team member with that, I can heal myself, and I can go in on my damage and not be scared of dying right away, and I know at least one of my teammates is probably not going to die either. But if you guys have any questions, please hit me up in game. My @name is Late Night Moontan. If you have any other further questions and want to come watch me stream live, that's when you're going to be able to see the most of my gameplay. It's twitch.tv/Moontan, and I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the game.